The warnings are few. The signs are sudden. The tide goes into reverse. A thunderous roar fills the air. And then it strikes. And when it is over, nothing is left. A tsunami. The word in Japanese means harbor wave. Japan has been hit by many tsunamis in its history as a result of its location. It lies across the edges of 4 tectonic plates, where most earthquakes, the principal cause of tsunamis, are born. When 2 tectonic plates push together, the resulting earthquake sends an enormous burst of energy up through the ocean, displacing enormous quantities of water. A series of waves expands in all directions. In deep water, these waves travel fast, up to 500 miles an hour, but only reach a height of a few feet. A passing ship might not even notice. But as the waves enter shallow waters, friction with the ocean floor lowers the wave's speed and raises their height until at landfall they can engulf a 10-story building. It advances like a wall of water that crashes over the coastline and everything in its way, reaching even as far as a mile.
Violent winds, driving rain, killer waves. These are the hallmarks of a hurricane. Also called cyclones or typhoons, hurricanes are giant storms prowling the world's tropical seas. An average hurricane releases as much energy in a day as the explosion of 500,000 small atomic bombs. Hurricanes form in the summer and fall when the sun heats vast stretches of tropical ocean to over 82 degrees. Warm, moist air rises over these hot spots, creating thunderstorms. Upper-level winds and surface winds then come together, forming a circular pattern of clouds known as a tropical depression. When the winds exceed 39 miles per hour, a tropical storm has developed. When the winds reach 74 miles per hour, a hurricane is officially born. Inside the storm, bands of rain up to 300 miles long meet in the eye wall, the most violent section. Here, winds of up to 200 miles per hour spiral upward. Within the center of the hurricane, downdrafts of dry air create a strangely calm area called the eye. Fully formed, a hurricane may stretch over 500 miles in diameter. That's a storm nearly the size of Texas and reach a height of 9 miles.
When we least expect it, when we're least prepared, disaster can strike. And few disasters are as unsettling as an earthquake.
So it's important for you to fight.
Every day, the earth is shaken by hundreds of small earthquakes. Most go unnoticed. They usually occur along the boundaries of the thin plates that cover the earth like an eggshell. Driven by the heat deep within the earth's core, the plates grind against each other on long lines called faults. When the plates find their motion blocked, stress builds up. Finally, the fault gives way. The released energy races through the earth in the form of seismic waves. Over the past 100 years, no other natural disaster in the U.S. has caused more death and destruction than floods. They can happen any place, any day, any time. And they will likely only get worse. As people cluster around coastal regions and floodplains, our growing population will confront the awesome power of water. For thousands of years, farmers have depended on seasonal floods. The waters irrigated their crops and fertilized their lands. Today, excess water is channeled into reservoirs and power hydroelectric dams. But when water levels rise suddenly, far more than the ground can absorb, a flood occurs. Flash floods are a perfect example. Sudden storms unleash a torrential downpour. The runoff moves with surprising force. At a depth of 2 feet, the water can push aside a car. In fact, half of all deaths from flash floods involve vehicles. But floods occur in many other ways. Heavy rains and thawing snowfall can overwhelm rivers. Storm surges caused by hurricanes and tsunamis inundate the coastline. Landslides and mud flows can displace large volumes of water. Dams break, levees fail. In some ways, the New Orleans disaster was unique.
Years ago, scientists believed that volcanoes were burning mountains of fire. Today, we know they're really openings or vents to the hot interior of the planet. About 1,500 volcanoes around the world are classified as active. Nearly 90% of these rest in the Ring of Fire, a band circling the Pacific Ocean. Their location is no accident. While the Earth's surface looks stable, its crust is made up of immense slabs of rock, like puzzle pieces that constantly shift. Where these tectonic plates interact, volcanoes often form. Friction from shifting plates melts the Earth's crust, causing rock beneath the crust to liquefy. This molten rock, or magma, then becomes a volcano by erupting through rifts in the plates. Once magma escapes from the Earth, it's called lava. But not all lava is the same. Runny lava flows quickly and forms the gentle slopes of shield volcanoes. Thick, sticky lava doesn't flow as far and tends to form the steeper slopes of composite volcanoes. Composite volcanoes can erupt violently, hurling ash and lava at speeds up to 200 miles per hour. These eruptions sometimes blow away large chunks of